I'm going through these. If you see them, let me know. You probably see, I mean, if you've got a neighbor who's a news photographer, you've seen a news photographer plate. But the bottom line is, most of these plates are very scarce. I'll give you a little sense of how often I see them. Anybody ever seen a racer toe plate? No. Anybody? No. I've never seen one in use. No. Rhode Island is the only state that has racer toe. Delaware has a similar type, but Rhode Island is the only state with racer toe. It's for towing race cars to the track. By state law, if a vehicle has wheels on the road, it has to have a license plate on it. So if it's on a trailer, it's one thing, that's fine, the trailer has a plate on it. But if you're into racing cars and you're towing your car to a racetrack, it's got to be registered. Now, is it enforced? I don't think so. Do most race car owners know it? I don't think so. I think they trailer their cars to the track. But Rhode Island has a type for it. I've never seen one on use. I've never heard of another state that has a type like it. And they're very, very rare. By the way, any of these types, if anybody has any, just see me out. Very, very scary. And by the way, I'll confess, a little cheating. When I got this plate, except for the type name, it looked like this. It had never been finished. But I painted it because I usually don't like to do that, but I knew that I'd probably never get another racer toe plate. So, but that's one you will probably never ever see. Actually, a friend of mine recently, in the past year, saw one on the car, on a trailer, and followed the guy to Seacon Speedway and took a picture of his license plate. And I have it if you'd like to see it. Here's the news photographer. Anybody ever see these? Yes. Once in a while, right?
At the State House.
Yeah, you got one of these? Set me up. Very scarce. Maybe, I don't know, like racer toe, maybe this. I'd be surprised if there were 20 racer toe plates registered right now. I have in the book the statistics from 1995. I forget what it is. News photographers similar. I don't think there's probably 20 or 25 of these issued. Very, very scary. Always happy to get a news photographer plate. This guy looks like it was used. New plates are nice, but I prefer used. Now this one, there's only one entity that has these, but you probably have all seen them at one time or another. If you go to the Gatsby Days Parade or something like this, you'll see the Palestine shoulders. But very, very scarce because there's, like I say, there's only one body, one organization that's allowed to get them. So very happy to have that used for a number of years. Fine with me. Some of them, all their trailers are painted red. Get some of the red paint on the back. So that's legit. Very, very scarce. These, I said everything was still issued. This type might not be issued anymore. I don't think it is. This is motor vehicle registry. So these are plates that the registry issues to itself. Back in the day. Yeah, seriously. What's that? I doubt it. Back in the 60s and the 50s and the 40s, the registry had its own police force. I don't call it police force, but enforcement bureau. They had their own cars. They would patrol. They would pull over people with plates that were too low to the ground, close to the ground, or not secure on the car, whatever. They don't do that anymore. But back in these days, they did. The registrar himself gave this to me, and he said he kept it in his car with regular plates on it in case he ever needed it for official business. It was on the car a couple of times. But when he gave it to me, which is around this got an 89 sticker, 89 or 90, I think at the time he told me that this was the only one that was kind of valid in their system. I'd be surprised if there's, I don't think this is a type that's used at all anymore. So this is the other one that I was thinking of when I said it's probably one that's not used. I don't think this type is valid anymore. I actually got the registration certificate for this one. This is Civil Defense Director. So now there's a type now called Emergency Management or something. It's red. I haven't seen one of these in years. These are interesting plates. Back, of course, again, when the Civil Defense Protection Program in the 60s and 70s was a lot more prominent, they were issued. And the interesting thing about these plates is that the registration numbers are assigned sequentially to the municipalities based on their names in the alphabetical order. So there's 39 cities and towns, so there's 39 plates. 8 was issued to the town of Cumberland. It was on an ambulance, a 77 Dodge ambulance. So just unfathomably rare in my world to see one of those. A couple more, 4 or 5 more. This is one, again, if you're watching plates, you might see these. This is sheriff. Now, sheriff is in the white on blue colors of law enforcement plates. Police plates are white on blue. Again, copied Massachusetts on that. Sheriff plates are used on vehicles used to transport prisoners. And in the legislation that calls for sheriff plates to come into creation, they say that the numbers cannot exceed 9, 1 through 9. But lately I've seen them with higher numbers, so I think they're just not paying attention to the legislation. But a very, 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 very rare type in my world.
I'll tell you why that it said that in legislation. Remember, you had five counties, and there were 5 sheriffs appointed by the governor.
Yeah.
All right, and each one of them had a deputy sheriff.
Yeah.
So that's where the 9 came from.
Yeah.
What county were you in?
Providence.
This is one that I see, I think I've seen 2 of these in use. And I'm going to see who can tell me what it is. A little mystery thing going on.
Manufacturer.
Manufacturer. And who do you think has these? We don't have any automobile manufacturers in Rhode Island that I'm aware of. I have not seen any.
Big mill factories, no?
Automotive vehicle manufacturers.
The motorcycle or custom manufacturing?
No.
People that transport down at Quonset Point, all those cars.
Subaru has these for importing vehicles into the port of Davisville.
Oh.
I've only ever seen them on Subarus. I've only ever seen 1 or 2, and once in a while some of my plate geek friends tell me that they see them around. But very, 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 very rare. It's the only one I got. And they probably started at 100. I mean, they certainly have never issued 100. They probably started that numbering them there. This is one I really like. I've never seen one of these in use. This is boat dealer. So back in the day, I don't know when, probably in the early 1980s, I think, because the type came out in 1983, a boat dealer got pulled over on 114 or 95 or something on his way to the Providence Boat Show, pulling his wares up to the Civic Center or wherever the boat show was at the time, and with no plate on the trailer. And he said, well, I don't know, I'm a dealer. I can't get dealer plates. I'm not a motor vehicle dealer. And they said, well, you have to have a license plate on it. You can't just drive around without a license plate. So that's how the type boat dealer came into existence. And they're very, very, very scarce. Very happy to have that. Any boat dealers? Anybody have a boat dealership? This is another one you've probably seen, but they're rare. I mean, if you're in the right place, you see them. If you're down by the courthouse, yeah. But it's kind of a fun type. The numbers of these are assigned based on seniority in the judiciary in the state. I don't know the exact order. I've got it written down somewhere, but they reassign the numbers every couple of years. And I guess the Supreme Court gets one, and on down from there. This is another one that you probably have seen, but they're rare. It's the only one I own. XPOW.
You see a lot of those around.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of them.
You see veteran and XCOW.
You see veteran and disabled veteran.
Yeah.
I don't see these. You might, but
I've seen those.
I've seen them, but I don't see them. I mean, I see one a year maybe.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah. But they're rare. Take my word for it, they're rare. This is another one. I got the registration. I'll ask, see if somebody knows what it is, and if not, I'll tell you who has the registration, and then that might give you a clue. I have not seen one of these in years.
Go repossess cars.
Somebody out on bail.
Not if somebody out on bail.
Bailey.
Didn't have something to do with a body shop, no?
Well, interesting. That's an interesting point. Back in the 60s, Bailey was a pretty common type, and the reason is because they were being abused, because mostly body shops were getting them, and I don't know how, but they relaxed the rules, and the people that were supposed to get them were getting them, but they were also being issued to body shops, and finally they put the brakes on. We have a type for that. It's called transporter. But at the time, for some reason, they were giving out Bailey plates to people that really should have had transporter plates, and so they pulled in all the Bailey plates, and ever since then they've been extremely rare. This one was issued to Eastland Bank in Woonsocket, because they are for repossessors.
Oh, okay.
So if you wind up with one of these on your car, you probably don't have a car anymore.